I shall depart with haste, for dealing with imps is like dealing with an urgent bowel movement. You just get it over with.
Oh man, that's so right, those imps. What's going on, guys? Welcome back, Force here. Today we will be checking out Divinity Dragon Commander. Besides great comedic lines like that, this game is rather interesting. It mixes RTS gameplay with a turn-based campaign and role-playing elements. It's a fairly unique experience, to be honest, and one that I personally haven't encountered before. At least I don't remember a game similar to this that I myself have played. They may be out there in existence, but today we'll be checking out some gameplay. I'll be running you through some of the basics. We'll just be basically touching on the tip of the iceberg that is this game. So first and foremost, here we are in what's basically the central hub, our mothership, and there's various rooms with different people that we can interact with. I'll try to briefly explain to you what's going on. Basically, the story plot is you're playing as a dragon knight, and you are essentially the son of the prior emperor who was slain by your brothers and sisters for apparently just people didn't like him, so they killed him. He brought peace to the land. His kids killed him except for you, and you're trying to now restore peace by engaging in war against these people who want to destroy everything, basically. So that's the premise of the story. Now, here on the ship, this is the central hub. This is where you go in between each one of your turns. So it's a turn-based campaign, and you'll engage in dialogue with these different people on the ship, and they're like your advisors and your commanders, and they have something to say about everything you've done, whether you just won a battle or you made a decision. There's this whole political system in this game where you'll have these different representatives of the various races in this land, such as the undead and the dwarves and the lizard people. And there's two more. There's the elves and there's the imps. So those are like the 5 races of this land, and you'll have to sort of work with them, and there'll be conflicting interest basically in any engagement that you have, and that means that like, for example, most recently, I decided that I didn't want to enforce conscription, which was basically the draft, forcing people to engage in the war effort. So as a result, 3 of the races didn't like that decision. 2 of them did like it, but also the population rose in morale because I said, hey, you guys don't have to go to war if you don't want to. So that's part of the whole political aspect here. Before we jump into like my relationship with these people on the ship, let's just go into the combat. So there's 2 forms of combat. You go to the strategic map here on the bridge, and the first thing you start off with is this map that provides you with an overview of the land. Now this is where the turn-based tactical stuff comes into play. So basically there are all these different land plots, and I've got control over a majority of them at the moment. You can see my enemies currently control these locations over here. But within this, there's all sorts of different things. So on each one of these land plots, you can have up to 1 building. So I've got a war factory here, a gold mine here. This is my capital. This needs to be protected at all cost. I also have over here, there's a gold mine on this one, parliament on this one, and a war factory. Now you notice there's different things. The parliament gives me, generates strategy cards every 1 turn. The gold mine provides me with additional gold. So having a land plot gives you a couple of things. It gives you technology or research points and then gold. So if I have a gold mine, I get extra gold from those places. But then these other buildings like the war factory, this allows me to generate units. That's the war factory that allows me to generate units as well. Capital I need to keep at all cost. And there's one more I have over here. Here we go. There's an academy, which gives me subversion cards every turn as well. So I guess it's sort of confusing, but it's rather basic in the notion that you take over a land plot, and then you decide what type of building you want it. So for example, the last turn, right before I started recording this video, I took over this land plot. There was a battle, a RTS style battle. I took this over, and now I get to put a building on it. So I can select this, and I get to decide, do I want to do a parliament building or an academy building? Other options of the War Factory, Gold Mine, Tavern, and Wizard Tower, but I don't have the gold to do that at the moment. So I might let this sit for now until next turn, because the next turn I'm going to get 26 more gold plus 9 research points. So I'm going to wait till next turn before I place a building on this land, because I'd like to place something I don't have, such as the tavern or the wizard tower. So this is, again, this is the overview. We've got units here, and we can build units. So I've currently got units over here, and I'm going to send a few. They've got movement, each unit. So this one has 3 movement points, so I can move it all the way over here. I'm going to just move it right here for now. And this one has 1 movement point, so I can move it here. This guy has 1 movement point, so I can move it here. So these are units I'm just moving around. And I like to move some units to the capital as well. How many movement points does he has? He has 2, so he can go over here safely. And he's got 1, so I'm gonna... Oh, you know what? Can I not bring him across? I can't bring him across the water. I cannot bring him across the water without a transport. So I could get a transport, I believe, over here. Let me see if buy units lets me buy a transport. Trooper, no, I cannot build the transport at the moment. I think I have a transport somewhere, though. That's a Juggernaut. That's a Warlock. And you'll get to see all these units up close. Right now, these are just sort of like figurines of the units. But once we enter the real-time strategy portion of combat, you're actually going to get to see these units in action, which is quite exciting, to be honest with you. We're going to have all 3 of them go over there. Okay, so I've decided to have my units move around. I could also purchase units, like I saw here. You can purchase units and then they will be built on it. Now you can only purchase units in a place that has a building that lets you build units. So the War Factory, the capital, I can also buy units, and then this War Factory over here. But I cannot buy units in these other places. I can only sell the buildings or play a card. So there's this whole card system as well, which essentially acts like buffs. You'll get cards depending on the buildings you have. Again, I've got a Parliament that gives me 1 strategy card every turn, and then I also have the Academy that gives me a subversion card. That's a debuff basically for enemies, and I believe the strategy is just sort of like a buff for me essentially. Quickly show you the cards that I have just as an example. Nothing at the moment actually. I thought I could have sworn that I had some cards, but I guess I don't have any in the wings. But once we enter combat, you'll see some of those cards come into place. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to explain to you. You can undo movements up there in the corner. That's the menu. And when you mouse over each one of these, you're going to get some detailed information. So, for example, I just took over this capital here, and in doing so, you can see it's got the elf species, and there's these are actually all elf species right now. And then the undead species is the landscape over there. But you're also going to get support from each one of these and entrenchment as well. And that's all the information. And then there's the income information, which is going to be the gold and research that you're going to get from each one of these. Wonderful. Okay, so that is that. And now that we've made our moves, why don't we go ahead and end the turn. In doing so, my units are going to make the movements I told them to. We're going to see the enemy move his units around. And he's actually moved units into... He's moved units into locations that I had troops. So what this means now is that we are going to have a battle. In fact, there are now going to be 2 battles because of the movements that he's made. So I've got to now engage in these battles and hopefully try to win. So we're going to have 2 battles coming up right now. I can't do any other moves because it is time to enter into combat. So the first battle that we're going to be going to is right here. You can see the outcome, the probable outcome. It's 48% in favor of me, 52% in favor of him. We can change that though. I'm actually going to take command of this battle, and we will have a few cards come into play. So let's take a look at what he has. So these are the cards that I have. So at the start of every, let me just go over this one more time quickly. So there's a battle about to engage. The turn was ended. He moved troops into one of my locations that had people. And so when there's an enemy troop in a place that you have, there's a fight. That's how it works. So when you have a fight, you've got your commanders that you can list, and you can see it's going to change your percentage chance to win the battle. It's still pretty close though, no matter which one of these that I pick. We're still sitting around 50%, so I want to take physical control because I've got a better chance to win when I'm the one in control, as opposed to having it auto-resolve, which is what will happen if you have one of your commanders take control. So I will take control of this battle, and we can play some cards as well. So he's got troopers, transports, grenadiers, shaman, and Zeppelin. So let's see if we've got any cards to debuff some of his stuff. Well, I've got something to increase my bombers, but I don't have any bombers in this fight at the moment. We'll be able to pick some once we actually get into combat though. So let's take a look here. I could unlock the rejuvenation dragon skill for 1 combat round, which you'll see the dragon stuff come into play. You get to take control of a dragon. Enemy ironclads will fire 75% slower. He doesn't have any of those, though. I could give a transport for fighting on my side. No. Hunters. He doesn't have any hunters. This is for warlocks, which he doesn't have. This is for imp fighters, which he doesn't have. I don't know if I have anything to take care of the stuff that he has, actually. Well, if that is the case, I can summon 4 armor mercenaries to the battle. So why don't we do that? I'm going to summon 4 armored mercenaries to the battle, so that's going to give us plus 4 more of those, and you can see that drastically increases our chance to win. Alright, so we're going to hit ready. Now it is time for real-time strategy combat. This is also where you equip your dragon skills. I'll show you what the dragon is once we get into combat. So, RTS combat. This is camera over your units. You get to control them and tell them what to do. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hotkey all my guys, and I'm going to take control over the buildings within my little base here. So we've got our little base. This is the battlefield. Enemy is over here. This is our base. So we need to take control of these buildings just by walking over to them with our troops. Okay. Now that we have those buildings, we can actually convert some of them. While that's happening, I'm going to send troops over here to take control of that building. So taking control of buildings is going to give us recruits. Recruits allows us to summon our dragon, but also it's your currency. So we've got these construction sites. We can make things like a battle forge, an arrow factory, and a war factory. And I am going to want to make those things because these allow me to summon units with my troops.
Armor is weakening, sire.
We've got a battle going on over here, which we could zoom in on if we wanted to. But while that is happening, we're going to summon some stuff. So I'm going to build myself a battle forge, and I'm also going to build myself a yeah, there we go. So we're going to build ourselves a war factory and a battle forge, and I'll hotkey those to 2 and 3. And then once those are up, we can build units from those locations. Okay.
In a straight line now. No mountain can stop us.
So we now have these, so we can summon some units. And we do not have control of this thing yet, so let's go ahead and walk back over to it. Actually, we got some more troops coming up here. So we can build units from these things, so I can build a couple of these. And then once they pop up, I'll be able to take them over, add them to our army. And now let's summon the dragon. We're going to go ahead and hit R, which lets us summon in our dragon. And this is us. We are the dragon commander. Now you can, as you play through the game, you'll be able to unlock various abilities. To start here, you've got a basic attack, you've got this dash ability, and then you've got the jetpack. Oh, the jetpack. You guys ready? This is the jetpack. It's so awesome. Oh man, and you can just fly around the battlefield and just start blowing up buildings if you want. Go over here, blow up the enemies. So the dragon, you are the dragon commander. That's the physical embodiment of you. But yes, you're able to take him over. Do I still not have control of this thing? It doesn't look like I do. Get over here. There we go. There we go. Now I got it. And then I can build a recruitment station, which is going to give us more recruits. Which again, recruits are the currency that let you build units. So we've got a few of these. So from these various buildings here, the Battle Forge and the War Factory, we can build different units types. Now the RTS combat in this game, I mean, it's pretty simple. I'm sure you could micro, and there is going to be a situation where you want to micromanage your units, but I found it best to just basically attack move into an army, and then turn into the dragon and blow stuff up. I mean, that seems to be the best course of action. At least that's what I've been doing, just because the dragon's so strong, it would seem silly for me not to do that, to be honest with you. Okay, so anyways, we've got the 2 buildings here, so we can make units. We can make troopers, grenadiers, shamans, warlocks, and from here we can make hunters as well. Hunters are basically scouts. So yeah, there's a whole RTS, there's different units, they've got different capabilities. This is a fast-moving medium ground that's highly effective against light units, and then there's all sorts of different unit types. But we're about to engage in a battle, so let me go down and blow his stuff up. Okay, and then we'll switch from the dragon, and then we want to move. So the ultimate goal is to just take control of the land, which ultimately just comes down to you grabbing the buildings. That's all it is. It's as simple as that. Gonna build a bunch of these. So that I have not had a difficult time in any of these RTS campaigns so far. Now I've only played for about 3 hours, and I am playing on the medium of 3 difficulties. So there's one difficulty higher than what I'm playing, and there's one difficulty lower than what I'm playing. But I mean, it's been incredibly easy so far. Who knows though? Maybe I'll lose this one, because it looks like I'm a little outmanned. But then I just walk in here with my dragon and blow these guys to bits. I am taking some damage, but my thing's on cooldown, so let's hop out of here. And we do have control of this, so we're gonna go ahead and build. Let's build a war factory. And I'm actually gonna back up here real quick and run back to, oh, that's his base. Run back over here. There we go. And then we can summon a bunch of hunters here, just like this. Obviously, it'd be ideal to be using things like hotkeys, but I am not in that position yet where I know them well enough. But I imagine when you do, it would just be even easier, because again, so far it's felt kind of spammy. But you know, I can't speak to how that would change. I can't speak to how that would change. Oh, we can set rally points? That's really good. I can't speak to how that would change with the harder difficulties, though. So maybe if we were playing on the hardest difficulty, it would get incredibly hard. But it's still, even though the RTS combat has been very basic, I've still really enjoyed it because of the Dragon Commander aspect of it. The fact that I can take control of this hilariously overpowered dragon and just blow people up. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's different units with different strengths. They're good against ground units, good against light units, good against heavy units, ranged attacks. You know, there's all sorts of different unit types. So there's definitely strategy that can be in place if you look at your opposing units and see how to counteract that and build a unit of that type. But again, it hasn't been necessary for me on the medium difficulty. So that's all there is to say about that. But yeah, this is the RTS combat with a Dragon Commander mix, which is just hilarious. It's just so cool. It really is. All right, let's have these guys go ahead and go in over here. And again, my ultimate goal is simply to take over the opponent's base. That's it. And we're gonna kill these little flying things here. But I don't know, there's something about this whole taking over a dragon and then you can just freely swap in between these two things. It's kind of cool, you know. It's kind of really neat. I really like it, to be honest with you. And it works pretty well, you know what I mean? You can switch between them pretty quickly and just go, okay, take control of my troops now, go back to RTS mode and focus on building a bunch of units. There we go. Awesome. Just like that. And then switch back to the dragon and blow stuff up. Look at these ships trying to fly, trying to get away. No thank you. I don't think so. I mean, it's a cool concept. I would say, if nothing else, it certainly doesn't feel like the best RTS experience, but the combination, I think, is what really sells it for me. And again, I can fly around with this dragon that has a jetpack. I mean, come on, that's cool. This is pretty cool. It really is. All right, guys, take over. Kill all this stuff, please. What, we got a ship over here? I'll blow it up a little bit. And then we'll switch once his weapon like overheats. So,
Get us out of here, Commander!
and then everyone run over here, and we've taken the keep. We just need to keep it for a few seconds, and then there's victory. So there's a battle. That's a battle in action. You know, taking a look at, you take over these building plots, you construct buildings on them, which allow you to build various units or get more recruits, which is your resource. And then you not only engage in the RTS combat, but then you get to play as the dragon as well. Now, there was another battle, I believe. Here's the other battle. You can see it's only a 51% chance to win now. Because I took control of the last battle, I cannot this battle, so I'm going to rely on my commanders. So I need to pick the commander that has the best percentage chance to win. It looks like it is Catherine. And let me see if I can help her out at all. They've got hunters and troopers. I have got a bomber balloon. So increase bomber balloon 50% faster. That would be a good card to play. And just like that, increases my percentage chance to win. And you'll see how I get the cards. Basically, after each turn, you'll pick up a card. And he has hunters and troopers. So let's see. I don't remember what I had before. Ooh, hunters. Hunters move 50% slower, so we play that card. And there we go. Wonderful. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit ready. It will auto-resolve. And it looks like we won. We had one bomber balloon as a survivor. So we have maintained control of that land. So there we go. The turn is over. Every time a turn ends, you get this thing that's the Reveal in Times. It's basically like the tabloids of your land. And you're also going to notice the political stuff over here. This is the support of the different races, the dwarves, elves, lizards, imps, and undead. So let's see. Emperor subjects general to impish humiliation. They tell you to roll over, you roll over. Our man aboard the Raven is the name of this Central Command mothership. Victory party report, unification of the land, or one man's personal popularity contest. And this next headline, shrapnel shreds civilians. You have not one shred of evidence. Imps justify. Imps love explosions. Shrapnel killed civilians. So I've got the support of the elves and the lizards because I said no to the draft. I said no to conscription, which the dwarves, the imps, and the undeads were in support of. I just philosophically like that idea better, and it also increased the morale of the population. So although these people, they may have lost some respect for me, if you will, the population of the land liked that decision. So there you go. So the turn ended. I thusly got the increase in gold and research. I also have new cards that I picked up. Every turn you're going to get new cards. And again, that's based off of the buildings that you have on the land in the tactical overhead map. And then, now that a turn is over, there will be conversation to be had. So we can actually head to the throne room now. We might be automatically... There we go.
I am pleading here today on behalf of a dwarven miner who was cruelly left to his fate by his own kindred. An incident in the mines cost him his leg, and he is too poor to pay for a proper prosthetic one. Henry, your own general, could afford impish machinery, but the dwarves, who easily could as well, will not provide for their stricken fellow. Well, I say they should. Indeed, the state should. We can. So why not do so?
There are more with a prosthetic limb than without among us imps. Comes with the territory, I suppose. All those volatile war machines. Most of our top inventors have more metal than meat to them. And of course, it's only fair the government chips in where they can.
Okay, so at this point, basically what happens is I go around this room, the throne room, talking to the representatives of the different races to figure out where they stand on the issue. So the current issue is, will the government institute healthcare? So we've listened to what the elf representative and the imp representative have had to say. Let's talk to the undead, dwarf, and lizard.
Just like diseases, accidents are simply punishments from the gods. If this misbegotten dwarf lost a leg, he probably took the Seven's names in vain, or forgot to say a prayer before dinner, and they saw it fit to make him attentive of his sin. Paying for his convalescence would be tantamount to forgiving his trespass, which only the gods have the least to do.
Okay, so the undead obviously not in favor. The elf and the imps are. Let's check these other two.
If the state should pay for each and every work accident, for every broken nail and broken leg, we'll be paying through the nose, and it's your finances that'll be crippled. Mark my words, Commander. Listen to that bleeding heart elf, and the treasury will bleed the more for it.
And then lastly, the lizard.
Oberon's tale is a shocking one, Commander. If this miner suffered such a dreadful injury while working, then the mining corporation in charge should pay for his treatment. And if they won't or cannot, then yes, the nation should.
All right, so I think we should get the healthcare. And so I will say yes.
The people deserve a kind emperor and a generous one too. You are both, Commander.
So again, this is the populace motivation is increased, and I received 2 less gold per turn as a result of that. So this is the political aspect of the game. Prior to recording this video, I had again the idea of whether or not I should institute the conscription, the draft, and now we've got the conversation about healthcare, and everyone, these 5 representatives weigh in, and then you make your decision, and there is a consequence of said decision. So we've taken a look at the combat here in the game. We've taken a look at the political decision making. There is also an upgrade system. Down here in the bar, you can just have idle conversation with these guys, learn more about the world and stuff like that, their opinion on the war effort and the other commanders. But here in the engineering bay, this guy right here.
The wizard has discovered many an ingenious schematic in those dusty books of his, but they will require a lot of resources. And resources cost a lot of dwarves' delight. That is to say, gold, my lord. Without delay,
So this guy right here, he is where we research upgrades and new troops to summon and things of that nature. So this is where I can learn to summon a transport, an anti-air turret, different unit types, upgrades for those units, and there's these tabs up here that go through the basic, advanced, expert, and master upgrades. So this is for the RTS portion of the game, focused specifically on your combat troops and supporting troops in combat. There's also, over here in the Royal Chamber, I can talk to the wizard, Maxos, and he gives me upgrades for the dragon.
Your legacy, my friend. Before the dragon unfurls only victory. Gladly shall I do so.
So this is where I can get upgrades, again, basic, advanced, expert, and master, specifically for the dragon that I take command of. Now, so far in the game, I've spent, and this is all based on research points. You spend research points. You can spend a little bit to research it over the course of a turn, or you can spend more to get it researched instantly. But yeah, this is where I would research upgrades for my dragon. Now, so far, I've spent most of my research points upgrading my troops, but truthfully, you'll notice how many, these are all the research technologies I've already learned here, all those different troops and a couple of upgrades. But truthfully, I should probably spend my research points on the dragon because the dragon's so strong. But they give you that choice. They say, do you want strong troops or do you want a strong dragon for when you're in combat? And we're not going to go through all this stuff, but again, it's upgrades for your dragon, making him stronger. Rejuvenation, restoration, fire attack, blood leech, all sorts of fun stuff like that. And then again, the other things, all those different troops. So, I mean, that is basically what I wanted to show you. I think we've touched on most of the basics. We looked at the combat, we looked at the political stuff, and we looked at the upgrade system. Now, this game is currently available for pre-order. If you do decide to pre-order it, you'll get early access to the multiplayer beta. So that's the multiplayer component of this, where you'll engage in that turn-based and real-time combat against other people. We won't be looking at that here in this video. I just wanted to show you the basics of the campaign and stuff like that. But yeah, available for pre-order. The game will be priced at $39.99. And I guess that pretty much does it. I mean, I could spend, 45 minutes talking to everyone here. After you make a decision, you'll get their impression on it. So let's see, after the healthcare, how this guy feels.
So then you do forgive, and you do what is the prerogative of the Seven. Remember pride and fall, Commander. It's a long way down from the Raven.
He doesn't like it. Alright guys, well that's gonna do it, I guess. It's been Force here, once again, checking out Divinity, Dragon Commander. Very interesting game with a mix of RTS, turn-based, and role-playing gameplay here in this title. I think it's interesting. It's certainly got some depth to it. I wouldn't say it seems like the most polished combat or anything, but in the RTS portion of the game, but it's still rather neat, and I've been enjoying it so far. So thanks again for watching. If you guys like the content, please subscribe, and as always, keep watching and keep owning. I am so going to own the rest of those undead lands. No doubt.